live right now outside of the Fairfax County Courthouse in Fairfax County, Virginia, where Law and Crime's own Angenette Levy is with us. She was present in the courtroom for the final, perhaps the final hearing in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation suit. Angenette, good to see you. So what can you tell us about the possible conclusion of this case? Walk us through what happened today.
Well, Jesse, good morning to you. The hearing was pretty brief. Basically, what happened was there was discussion about the judgment, and this was kind of a formality, this hearing, and this was for basically the judge to enter the judgment. Okay, so we had the jury's verdict. Elaine Bredehoft, the attorney for Amber Heard, asked to file some have some possible a briefing schedule or something to that effect, and she said that Judge Azcarate said that's not going to be necessary. She said you basically file your briefs, file your motions, file your appeal. Elaine Bredehoft made it sound like she might want some type of hearing, and the judge, Judge Azcarate, was very no-nonsense as usual, actually more no-nonsense than usual, Jesse, and she basically said, I don't need a hearing on any of this stuff. I've had this case for 18 months, and we had a 6-week trial. So she said if you have a motion, file the motion. It can be decided on the papers. Elaine Bredehoft was also wanting to address this bond that has to be filed by Amber Heard in order to appeal the case. And so she wanted to discuss that as well in a post-trial motion, I should say. And Judge Azcarate basically said, well, you can address whatever you want, but you have to file the bond. And that bond would be the $8.35 million plus 6% interest per year. And the judge basically made no bones about it. If you want to appeal, you have to file that money in order to do so. So it didn't sound like Elaine Bredehoft was ready to maybe concede that point. She wants to address that in some type of motion or something, and she said she would do so. But the judge really had no time for any whatever was going on in that courtroom. I don't know how to quite explain it. She was very to the point, very direct. She basically, you can tell, she is done with this case. Ben Chu drafted the judgment, and the judge said, I will be signing this. And there you have it.
So there was no discussion about a settlement or anything like that?
Zero. And I didn't anticipate a settlement at all. I didn't anticipate that. Johnny Depp has, in his own view, been through hell for 6 years, okay? We've basically heard him say that, I'm paraphrasing, during the trial. He said he lost nothing short of everything. Why would he settle? I mean, he believes he was right. The jury ruled in his favor, except on that one count for Amber Heard. So I don't think you'll hear anything about a settlement.
So it appears that this is going to be moving on to the next stage of the appeal. Who was in the courtroom, Angenette? I'm assuming Amber Heard was not there. Were there any representatives? Who was in the gallery? Any supporters?
So there were Johnny Depp supporters there. I would say maybe fewer than 10 Johnny Depp supporters, people that we had met throughout the trial who were here. I was here, obviously, as a news person. There was another print reporter who was here. So there were probably 3 or 4 media types here listening to all of this. But it was pretty brief. And as I mentioned, this was a formality. I do want to mention, too, there had been all these people asking whether or not Johnny Depp's team would file for an injunction after the Dateline interview by Amber Heard, since she made what a lot of people view as additional defamatory statements. That did not happen either, and I didn't think it would. When you start talking about limiting someone's speech, I think that you would have to be very careful about that type of thing. So that didn't happen either. I think that they are just thinking to themselves, we won this case, we were right, and we're moving on, and you can file your appeal, Amber Heard, and your attorneys, and we will answer your documents that you file. We will file answers to that, and that's how they're proceeding.
Do we have any sense about what role Elaine Bredehoft or J. Benjamin Rottenborn or Camille Vasquez or Ben Chu are going to play in the continuation of this case as it moves up to an appeal? I mean, are they staying on Johnny Depp, Amber Heard's team? I have an understanding that Chu and Vasquez maybe are representing Depp in a different case, but do we have any understanding of how much these attorneys are going to stay with them as it moves into the appeal process?
Well, they've been representing him now for years. They represented him in the case with his former business manager, Joel Mandel. And they settled that case. And I was told, basically during this trial, that case had been settled in Johnny Depp's favor. The settlement was confidential. The terms of that settlement couldn't be disclosed, but that Johnny Depp got something out of that. So Brown Rudnick has been representing him now for quite some time. And it appears they will continue to represent him if there are additional legal matters that come up. Obviously, Adam Waldman is his attorney, his personal attorney, but Brown Rudnick appears to represent him in these other, what I would call other matters.
Now, just walk us through real quick, if you can, what the next steps are in terms of, so you mentioned the bond, you mentioned that Elaine Bredehoff might be fighting this in terms of a motion. Now, if we move on to an appeal, when do we have a sense of when that might be, when she might have to file, how this process is going to work, where it might be, anything like that, Angenette?
She has a limited amount of time to file an appeal. They've already filed the notice of appeal, and I'm looking through my notes, Jesse, because we weren't allowed to have any electronic devices in the courtroom, and I was writing as quickly as I could. So I think that she has to file something somewhere between 21 and 30 days. So I'm looking through my notes again. So let me just double check on that before I actually say a definitive date, but it's coming up soon, is my point. She's got a limited amount of time, and obviously you can file the notice of appeal, and a lot of times, you don't have your stuff ready, and these lawyers go back to the court and they ask for an extension of time, and they're granted an extension of time. So that's often how those things go.